Hello, we're glad you're still watching Morning at 10 TV. Let's now dive straight into our Kickstarter, the discussion of the topical issues of the day. And today is National Heroes Day, the 9th of June, 2022, a day that gives the country an opportunity to reflect on national issues, but most importantly, to pay tribute and, of course, understand exactly what the sacrifices that were made by the men and women who built this country are. We shall, of course, be speaking to gentlemen who are in their own right heroes, but of course also give us perspectives on exactly what we should be looking forward to. Just tribute to the Uganda Cranes. Yesterday it was a 1-1 against Niger as we try to make our way into the Africa Nations Cup. Now that result could have many of you thinking the Uganda Cranes are not heroes. These boys have done a tremendous job before, and a result as dull as a 1-1 with Niger last evening cannot in any way make them any less. They are still our heroes, and of course we shall be looking forward to all performances as we try to inch closer to that iconic tournament in terms of representation. Welcome, gentlemen. Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defence Forces, Brigadier Felix Kulaigye. You look every inch a national hero. A very good morning.
Ooh. Good morning to you. You have elevated me, and I'm humbled.
Yeah, because many times there is a tendency for people to think that only military men, especially in Uganda, do. But when you come dressed full with the medals and in combat, is this combat or ceremonial? It is combat, yeah. I'm inclined to see the hero and the representation.
And for that matter, I will start, once you finish introducing my colleague,
no doubt,
I will start with the definition of the hero.
And then help us understand holistically exactly what it is. Many thanks for joining us too. Godber Tumushabe, Associate Director at the Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies.
Yeah,
strategic studies alone sounds
very much. Thanks very much.
It's lofty.
It's lofty.
Oh, yeah. Thanks very much. Good morning, our viewers, and very delighted to be here with my good friend Felix.
No doubt. Yeah. Brigadier Felix Kulaigye. We need to understand who are national heroes, who are patriots.
Allow me start with Godber.
Yes.
Godber here is one man. Whatever his other controversial statements he makes, I value him because he gave me a book.
That's right.
Now, for me, when you give me a book, you are adding value on me.
No doubt, no doubt.
And so I value indeed. So Godber, I've said it on air.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful.
What book is that?
You carried me a book.
It's called Area 51.
Area 51. Yeah, it was a combat operation.
Combat operation.
Yeah, very fascinating book.
Godber, should I look forward to a donation too?
Why not? I like donating books actually.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that shows you, that shows you they're Ugandan. Very few Ugandans value books. They value money.
Yeah.
Perhaps they've been conditioned to.
You know, I've been asking wherever you go, as what a Ugandan will be ready to die for. And almost every audience, without exception, says money.
Money.
That's very sad.
No, Felix, I should just interject and say one thing. One of my professors in Nairobi, during those fights against Moi, he used to make a joke that during the street fights in Nairobi, they would just loot everything. Yes. With the exception of books. Yes, the bookstores would remain intact.
They remain intact.
They saw no value.
No.
And, they couldn't sell them.
And so that's an African for you.
That's an African.
Now, a hero is that person who offers himself or herself for the common good without regard for his or her safety.
Without regard for his safety.
Or her safety.
Okay.
I want to repeat those because they think everybody who has been awarded a medal is a hero. No. Whereas a hero should be awarded.
That's right.
Not every awardee
is a hero.
That's interesting.
We are learning new things.
That is very interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why people like Matthew Kuya, and I'm picking out a civilian deliberately.
Yeah.
Matthew Kuya knew Ebola kills. He knew he was risking his own life. But indeed, he gave it all to save others. Unfortunately, he also went. That's a hero. The girl who risked her life to save others in the fire.
Yeah.
Yvonne Namaganda.
Yvonne Namaganda. That's a hero, a heroine.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we in combat, there are those of us, despite the hail of fire, you are not only telling your boys song and belly, you are actually with them at the front.
That's right.
When you survive, if you survive, glory to God.
Glory to God.
But if you die, others have lived because you have died.
That's right.
And I want to tell you this, gentlemen, the young men and women you see in uniform do very heroic acts that few of us get to know behind this way. I have said before that either we are mad or we are extremely patriotic. Because for you to tell somebody, advance and you are under fire, something must be wrong with your head or something must be right with your conscience.
I would agree with the latter.
So, if something is right with your conscience, it means you have been convinced. You see, there are three things I want to share with the audience.
That's right.
You must understand the cause. The other day, President was talking about the different fights, a just and an unjust war. When you are fighting a just war, you do not care about yourself. You care about the cause. Should you survive, you are a living hero. But many of the times, people perish in the struggle. So if you have understood the cause, you are convinced about it, then you are convicted. It doesn't matter the circumstances, you go.
Wow. Godber,
that's a hero.
Do you agree with that entirely? Or you have your own definition of who a hero should be or is?
No, I think to some extent I agree with Felix about the people who are able to put themselves in harm's way to be able to contribute to a bigger cause, to a common cause, because they know their lives are at risk. Now, I would just expand that definition that in our context, you think of people who have made major accomplishments that contribute to human life. So in globally, these are people you call Nobel Prize winners. You know, the guys who have made major accomplishments in sciences, in technology, in arts and culture, in sports. If you don't have a Nobel Prize system, then you classify them as your heroes, because everything that they do, it produces a common good that goes beyond what their own individual self. So that's really the extension of what I would make of Felix's point, because we have in the arts and culture, you have people who are able to excel in music, excel in film, excel in poetry. There is a way that those people who excel, they actually move society in terms of social, economic, and political advancement because of what they're able to contribute. In technology, in technology,
I have some point of disagreement.
All right,
yes,
no doubt.
in the area of technology, because you see, Felix, you talk about Dr. Kulaigye, phenomenal. Absolutely. But then there are also others who will not be at the front line of that danger, but who have come up with life-saving technologies. Yeah? You know, we are alive. The way Dr. Kulaigye saves people who are suffering from Ebola, these other persons come with technologies that are used to save lives
and transform societies.
Yes, and transform society. So I think for me, I have a slightly broader extension of what heroes would be. And especially for even for a country like Uganda and many others around here, you have to be thinking in terms of what are those things that have made society to leap in the different human endeavors.
Without appearing to be delving into an academic exegesis of what heroism is, let's keep it simple for the Ugandan to understand how broad and relative that
I agree, sir, but
anybody can be a hero.
There's something I wanted to. A dichotomy I wanted to bring in what he has brought up.
Please do.
And it's in a book. If you read the book on heroes and hero worship, I mean on heroes and hero worship.
And hero worship.
It's a book that I had to look for to understand these things. But there is also another one written by an African on heroes, on Uhuru and hero worship. That one is written by an African. But this one, and indeed the author says there is a danger that the liberal minded people are trying to dilute hero worship by equating a hero to a celebrity. Now, a person who has excelled in the arts, okay, is a celebrity.
Is a celebrity.
Bob Marley, celebrity. Actually, when I'm exercising, I dance his music. Lucky Dube, celebrity. This rapper who was gunned down, what was his name?
Tupac?
Tupac.
Yeah.
A celebrity. You can't equate that one with a hero.
Wow, that's very interesting. However, when you look at the messages that most of the people in the arts transmit to communities, to their audiences, and especially their fans, these messages have the ability to condition a culture.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, can I add something on that?
Please do.
If the message is moving, is postulating, carries a danger to his life. For example, you had people who were singing against apartheid. All right?
That's right.
They are musicians, yes, they earn from the music, but the message is liberating. And they know the apartheid system would come full throttle against them. That's a hero. He's singing to entertain, but actually his mission is to
succeeds at something greater.
Is to ingrain in the listener the message of patriotism.
Like I said, let's not fall into the trap of being very academic about heroism today.
As you know, I'm not very academic.
Okay,
but
that's area for the
no doubt.
Right. But of course, whoever is watching and listening into us, what I do understand is that the whole idea of the relative nature of heroism and who a hero is well understood. Uganda has a whole array of them, right from the 1800s through to the 1900s.
Of course, you know, for my best hero is Kulaigye.
Kulaigye, the king of Bunyoro. No doubt. Before we talk on the issues of the day, because this day, like any other, gives us an opportunity to reflect on aspects of national interest and how heroism in itself can be able to take us forward. There has been accusations and characterization of the military, for example, of being in the act of self-congratulation, especially after the 1986 Liberation War, that the heroes who went to the bush in the guerrilla war and liberated Uganda from the regime of Tito Okello Lutwa and Basilio kind of feel like they are entitled, you know, so much so that that self-congratulation appears in the way some UPDF generals and some soldiers act. There is a tendency to think we did so much and we deserve to go on and pay ourselves for as much as we can.
For starters,
yes,
a hero does not eulogize himself.
But we see that.
That's right.
Okay? For starters.
You've just disqualified very many.
Yes, absolutely.
A true hero does not say, don't you know I'm a hero?
No. Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't.
You don't.
Because in the first instance, what you did was out of conviction for the common good. Did you achieve it? Glory to God. Then it is you who will consider me a hero.
Who write the stories.
Not to me, for me to say I'm a hero. Number two, I think also what was done was enough, sufficient lesson. We have a hero's corner in the Kololo ceremonial grounds. The people lying in that corner are not soldiers. Ignatius Musazi was not a soldier. And indeed, the colonialists made sure Ignatius Musazi did not get anywhere near power. They even branded him a communist, as the president was telling the audience the other day. Professor Yusuf Lule did not hold a gun. He's in that corner. So, what government did in the first instance was to prove that it's not only people in combat that can be regarded as heroes. That's number one. Two, like I said, self-congratulations is not typical of a hero. I will tell you, there is one general, I don't have his permission to mention his name. When I called him a hero, he said, no, I'm not. I told him, sir, it's not you to call yourself a hero, it's us.
Yes.
And we see it fit that you are.
And we see it fit that you are, because this is a guy who went in every battle. Led from the front, not from the rear. Consumed quite a number of bullets. But he does not go stepping on people's heads because of what he did in NRAO.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And allow me bring in Godber Tumushabe on that. The aspect of self-congratulation, that there are elements within our society who are convinced they've done so much for this country and that this country must continue to look at them as people who deserve a lot and not to be criticized for actually what they get in terms of either remuneration or whatever else they're able to galvanize for themselves.
Yeah, no, actually that's where we have a challenge as a country, because I really want to re-echo the point that Felix just made about the heroes like Yusuf Rule, like Musazi. You know, you will find no disagreement on the contribution of these people, no matter your political orientation, no matter your ethnic orientation, no matter your cultural orientation. You'll find there's almost general acceptance that these are people who put their lives in the line of fire and were able to fight a good fight until whatever they were able to accomplish.
Right.
Now, I think that this process of the Heroes' Day, Felix, has really created a different dynamic on how we view heroes as a people. Because for me, as an individual citizen, I've argued time and again and said, on the military side, for the last almost close to 50 years of independence, Ugandans, we have been fighting and killing each other. That has been the fight. Very unfortunate. Yeah, we were not fighting wars like the ones we are fighting now in Somalia, for example, in DRC, where you're fighting rebel groups and insurgencies, where you say, yes, our men and women have fought a good fight. Now, the ones here, which have been domestic, you basically, you can easily end up with the story of the victor. Yeah, because so the UNLF fought a war against Idi Amin and his army, and the national army then, and so it makes no point in UNLF soldiers congratulating themselves, because when they were fighting, they were fighting another group of Ugandans. Yes. Yeah. Basically, on either side, the people who died in that conflict were Ugandans. Yeah. If you even with the UPDF, they were fighting the Uganda army. Across the board, the people who died in that war were Ugandans. I have argued consistently that in these wars, everybody is a victim. The UPDF, the Uganda army, but the bigger victims are the Ugandans who died in those wars. So I really would want to find probably, maybe that's why I go into the academics and say, let's find a more befitting characterization of what a hero is as far as Uganda is concerned.
I think you run into trouble. Wow. Yes, you run into trouble with those that out of conviction abandoned whatever else, and they went into the uncertain future because of what they believed in. When you start looking for a characterization that will balance, because that's what you're looking for. Balance the equation. And that does not happen in the real life of the world. All right? Yeah. There are people who believe in a cause. There are people who will serve a system. That's right. All right? Now, and that's why we took a decision in UPDF that our comrades we fought against, all right? We are serving a system.
Yeah, that's right.
And so we don't characterize them as enemies now. In the battlefield, yes, you are an enemy. Yeah. The moment I have captured you, you cease being an enemy.
Absolutely.
And that's how many of them have become our seniors and we salute them. But we were fighting them the other day. That's what makes us different. The late Bamuze collapsed in a seminar I had organized as CPC in Niwebaja. Bamuze was on the other side a few months earlier.
Yeah.
Now he was a Major General saluting. So the point you're trying to make, yes, the victims are real victims are Ugandans. Yeah. But two, naturally, the victor will tell his story better than the vanquished.
I think that's my point.
That's the natural story.
Yeah.
What you know, there are people like you. I think you are in the line of the late Professor Nabuderi, who thought violence can be wished away, and you say let there be and things happen. How I wish that was possible.
The reality is
that will only happen when the lamb can lie in the lion's den peacefully.
Very interesting analogy there, of course. Now, Ugandans at the moment, the day comes on the backdrop of what's no doubt very hard times. And right now, the average Ugandan is looking out for a hero to be able to save them from the hardships that they are encountering in terms of the skyrocketing price of commodities and services. There are people who are not giving attention to the cost of services. When they speak about commodities all the time, people think services are accessible or no, it isn't. There are many people who are grappling with that. The nation right now needs new heroes, so to speak. Yesterday or the other day, the president was speaking very cunningly about some of the issues that we are grappling with, and many, and I say many, saw him as avoiding to be very clear about the solutions that are needed to deal with some of the things. The president is no doubt a national hero. Right now, is he being one?
Of what?
The president, in addressing the hardships that the Ugandans are grappling with.
No, I think President Museveni's heroism is going to be defined when he is out of that office. Yeah, that's when, because you see, you can go to the battlefield, as Felix said, and you fight a war, and you know, wars that can define the moment. Then you get out of the war, and you do things that then diminish your heroism. Right now, so if you think of President Museveni, he's still writing his story of being a guerrilla leader. And being a president of Uganda. That story is incomplete. How it ends is going to define whether we as a people define him as a hero or not. Because I think I agree with Felix that it is us to call you hero.
Yes.
You cannot be the one to say I am a hero. No. No matter how powerful the things you do, eventually it is society, it's the community that says yes, that man, that woman is a hero. Now, if you talk about the commodity prices, I think the president has a challenge. There are a couple of things that you look at even when you go into the history. I would even want Felix to you to since you are in the thick of things here. You say we spent quite some time celebrating 11th April. As almost as another Hero's Day. That's the day when we overthrew
from
Idi
79 to 85.
Now we have a Hero's Day, then we have these many other days. You want to ask yourself, as a country.
You also know we had the Hero's Day of 79.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Felix, I think we need to be honest with ourselves as a people. When does the one of 26 May cease to be a Hero's Day? When does the 11th April cease to be an important day for us? Because everybody talks about how Idi Amin really, should I say, vandalized this country in terms of violence and human rights. For the president, I think I sympathize with him in a way, in the sense that he's at a point now where Ugandans are feeling a lot of pain, a lot of economic pain, but the things that any government, whether of President Museveni or Felix Kulaigye or Godber, would do, normally you invest in building the capacity of government to respond over a period of 10 to 20 years. If you have not done the right things, and crises like we're having, or the shocks like we're having come, you are always unprepared to respond. I have argued time and again that at this moment, the president has very limited options in terms of responding to shocks. because I think as a country we haven't prepared. We've made all kinds of progress. If in Uganda, if you are looking for these success stories and the progress we've made, you actually find a lot all over the place. But the problem is that a lot of these things have been happening in a circle. You know, when you are developing in a circle, you can clock a lot of mileage around that circle. But it doesn't mean that you've made forward movement.
You're like a hamster.
You're like a hamster. So, so in other words, the president, I sympathize with him and his government because they have not built the capabilities that any president can step on the platform and be able to say, because of these hardships that people are going through, we are going to do the following things. Okay. So if you listen to the president in the last speech about the commodity prices, in the State of the Nation address, he's mainly explaining the problems. And I think as Africans we have that problem because we like explaining problems.
Like explaining the problems.
Yeah, because...
give us your perspective.
First of all, for me, President Museveni is my hero. He is my hero.
No doubt.
No doubt about it.
It's perfectly understandable.
No, no. If it is in the context you are putting it because of my uniform, I don't agree. This is a man I've begun following since 1979. Since 1979. And I was telling some people that the person who actually stamped my decision to join the army was him. Because I made a decision in October 78. When a soldier beat me. But when President Museveni addressed the rally in Makerere,
you were clobbered by a soldier?
Yes.
That was the decision that...
that is what you tell me. Otherwise I was supposed to be a broadcaster.
Wow.
My childhood wish was to be a broadcaster. When this guy clobbered me in October 78,
he said never again.
I said, I must liberate that uniform.
Wow. That's inspirational in itself.
Yes. Now, but when I heard him talk in 79, and I want to assure you, throughout his speeches, he's consistent. Emancipation of the common person has been his message since then to date. Two, like I said, for you to start something that does not have a clear future, that involves a loss of life, you are exceptional. Because of a conviction, you are exceptional. And that's what makes him my hero. Now, these are the considerations you make. To me, they are secondary. And I'm going to tell you about the issue of commodity prices.
Please do.
You see, Ugandans like comparing. Even when the young men are busy hitting on a girl, if you raise Godber is also there, you begin talking about Godber instead of talking about yourself.
I don't do that. I'm more inclined in talking about what will be between us than anybody else.
Check society. People like comparisons. But you are comparing the incomparable. I'll give you reasons. And this helped me. I want to thank Honorable Wamanga. He helped me.
Honorable who?
Wamanga. He made a statement on the floor of Parliament, in Parliament, and said Uganda had the highest GDP tax ratio. And you know, science has made it, as you're saying.
Yeah.
I went on to Google. Guess what?
Yeah.
We are the lowest even in the region. 13%.
13%.
Burundi, a small economy, is 16%. Tanzania 17%, Kenya 18%. So when they talk about subsidies,
but do you know why we are low? Why we have a low tax to GDP ratio? Do you know why?
What do we sell?
By the way, in looking at
how many taxable units do you have?
In looking at statistics that way, be very careful not to fall for the folly that statistics.
Yeah, because you see what Felix is saying.
I am not.
What Felix is saying is about our failures now on the economic side.
I'm moving.
Please do.
So when you are comparing now, you begin asking yourself, what are you selling out? As an individual Ugandan, as a company, what are you selling? But instead, importing. Today, this tax, what you are doing, you are promoting more importation. The smallest economics I started with in senior 5 was saying maybe the country develop must do import substitution. Now, import substitution means you must make imports expensive. My cry today is that
there's also the question of displacement. You may not make imports expensive, you displace That means you are producing products
Yes.
that would otherwise be imported. So
Of course.
that's called import displacement.
Still, you have substituted for the.
I'm just saying that
Yes.
those are like two strategies
Yes.
for import substitution.
But
Make
import
imports
substitution is already
expensive,
a strategy
but do
that is
this.
being rolled out by the
Yeah.
government. It's
Yes.
a long-term strategy.
It's a long-term strategy.
Yes.
But then,
Long term means what?
if you,
It means we cannot
guys.
question what the
If-
feelings are.
if you
most
go,
of the time.
if you want what the politicians are telling you, it would mean that you would actually stop that strategy so that imports can continue coming because of the business people in town. Are you getting me? 3. How could, and then this is, I get so amazed. There's a chart of Ericksonians I'm on. At times I read and I remain in the Kamori.
Yes, sometimes it's good to remain in Kamori.
Because
You've been busted. You've been busted.
imagine Ugandans discussing how insensitive the president was to say eat cassava. And I want to tell you, except those who have been born in these strong walls of Kampala, Godber and the people of our ilk across the country eat cassava.
No, we are cassava eaters.
Yeah, the reality of eating cassava
Actually,
is not
my
questionable.
surprise was the president saying you eat cassava because maybe I was like, maybe he doesn't understand that
because
actually that's what we eat.
People
they were
already
saying
eating
bread.
cassava.
They were saying bread was expensive.
People already eating
so
cassava.
I'm asking
Yes.
the president who grew up in somewhere in Rushere there,
He eats cassava even
who
today.
knows that we eat cassava,
We already do.
that the families out there, their survival is on cassava.
Yes.
I was my quarrel with him was that how do you come and say you eat cassava because that's what people eat.
No, but
I think
you see,
for
people are
purposes of clarity,
Yes.
the dismissive nature in which the president spoke
Yes.
is what riled people.
Exactly.
It is not that the reality is that whoever is going to eat cassava is less or is surviving on less means than the one who eats bread. In fact, he is better. However, the dismissive nature.
He's actually put it well.
Yeah, the dismissive nature was deliberate. Yes,
Wow.
for you to make bread an issue in this country was unscientific.
No, I think that one. You missed the point.
Allow me to
Okay,
know,
please do.
I may have
You
missed
will
the point
interject,
according to
yeah.
you. 2, I want to take this opportunity because I didn't know it until cassava became an issue. There are 34 vitamin B complexes in cassava.
In cassava.
The only food stuff with more than 18.
Wow.
So the Congolese are better
That's a
than
new thing.
us who eat both the leaves and the tuber.
Yeah, by the way,
Yes. The sombe they eat are the leaves
Yeah.
and the tuber.
And the
So
tuber.
they get all the vitamins complete. Now you have your brainwashed Ugandan. For starters, microeconomics, what are they telling you? You have inferior goods, superior goods. An example of an inferior good, cassava. That's what we were taught. Total brainwashing.
that has been demystified for many of us.
Now today as we speak, because what the president said, the plate of cassava in Cafe Javas.
You know, it is up. But let's just share the context here. Let's just share the context here. For an urban poor who stays in, and this is for purposes of context, not necessarily to characterize anybody who stays in Katanga or Kisenyi, when they set out on any one day to go and find a meal, it is cheaper to access bread than to access cassava. Why? Cassava that's being brought into the markets, for example, Nakawa and Kalere, is already facing the high price because of the transportation cost. So when the president said that, people who were already grappling to
How much is the
eat
money of
cassava,
cassava? How much is the money of cassava in Nakawa market?
around 3,500 shillings.
How much is that for bread?
A loaf of bread, one that the average Ugandan affords is called a ban, 500 shillings.
Yeah.
The one that you can survive on for
It's also
4 hours.
A ban of
as you look-
500?
Yes, as you're
Where
looking.
can I buy it from, sir?
No, they are there. So if you go to
Where can I buy it?
so
Brigadier
you go to-
Kulaigye,
you go to
you should
those
live with
Malago,
us.
Nakawa,
A ban of 500.
Yes,
For me,
bread.
I can tell you.
Those are they are the ones actually
The
they eat.
cheapest I've ever survived on in this city
Yes, sir.
was Kabalagala.
Yeah.
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Yes.
Yeah, but
The
now
Macarena pancake.
Kabalagala now is expensive.
The Macarena pancake, again back to cassava.
Yeah.
So,
I
all
don't say
right,
someone
no
like
doubt
cassava.
that conversation will, of course, continue in the country, and Ugandans are trying to find meaning for what the president said, and also excuse him, perhaps, for being dismissive. However, there's something that Brigadier Kulaigye was saying, and you wanted to interject on it. I do not, unfortunately, it could have escaped me, but let me just go into the fact that the economics of the day, the managers of state are on the spot for either not acting or failing to inform us about what actions
But
are being undertaken.
I want us to make a clarity.
Yes.
Let us not mix the issues of managing the economy, managing the country with heroism.
Of course, what we are saying is that
the
day, National Heroes Day, offers us an opportunity to reflect on a range of issues.
Exactly.
And by reflecting on management of state and the economy, we are actually trying to either ask this fundamental question. Our heroes.
In fact, the heroes discussion, Felix, needs to be about, you know, the accomplishments, the heroism of those men and women that have moved this country at the front lines of the economy, the front lines of technology, the front lines of arts and culture. As I was saying, so in other words, there are people who have made these contributions, and because of that, as a country, we are moving along different trajectories. Yeah, because if you have heroes that have not helped society to move, then their heroism is actually diminished.
Or even heroes who are actually taking society backwards.
Yes, that's also that is also there.
Gentlemen,
yeah.
When somebody is regarded as a hero, that person has made a contribution up to that level.
Yeah.
Up to a point where you indeed believe this person's acts are heroic. Now, the actions you do after, it's like somebody who said that when I do one bad thing, it erases the 10 good things I did.
Yeah, naturally.
Society does not remember the other 10. Now, however, for me, I strongly believe a person who made his or her contribution for the common good, without regard for one's safety, one's comfort, for me, that's a hero. And therefore, what befalls this individual after, in my humble view, should not erase that contribution the person made.
Even when that very person is responsible for some of the reasons as to why.
Incidentally, Felix has a point in the sense that yes, there is a heroic act that makes you a hero. It is you are celebrated for that act. If you begin to conduct yourself in a manner that is inconsistent with the aspirations of society, actually that celebration will end. Because people begin then to see the things you are doing. People become heroes because they have certain values, they have certain forms of courage.
That's right.
If you are Felix and you
extraordinary courage.
Absolutely, extraordinary courage.
Yes.
The moment that extra courage cannot be exhibited, and in fact it is exhibited more in terms of undermining the values and the aspirations of society, then you begin to see people actually shunning you, even when they said you are a hero.
Of course, if you're undermining the values of society,
so that's really
you actually become a pariah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
but I really wanted just to say that for me, in many cases we are trapped into the discussion of the NRM struggle, the 86 to date
generation.
Yeah, I like going more to the independence.
But that's why I was very careful to start with Musa.
Yes, exactly.
To talk of cavalry.
I like going more to the pre-independence.
I knew you would trap me in that area. I read you ahead of time.
Look at that.
But there's something gentlemen.
That's very interesting. Let him finish
Let me finish my thought, Felix. That I think that as a people, I always want us to go back to independence. Pre-independence, that was the colonial period. We had people like Musaza and others who made their contribution. From 1962, we are an independent nation. We are struggling to move post-independence. So every time, for me, I'm looking at us as a country that has been around for 60 years. And I always want to be able to see...
Very quickly, time is not our best ally.
I see. The celebration of our heroes needs to reflect that 60 years of independence, of how far have we moved in terms of governance, in terms of politics, in terms of economy, in terms of arts and culture, in terms of science and technology. We need to be able to structure our discussion in that context so that we don't then get trapped into the different episodes of life over the last
But at the same time,
Right.
I wouldn't want us to...
Those should be pretty much your parting shot.
My parting shot is that, for me, my desire to recognize heroic acts and heroism is a desire to see the young people have people to emulate.
To emulate, yeah.
Who are these that are exemplary, that if I desired to follow President Museveni in 79, a person who is my age of that time, whom is he looking to now?
Right now.
Right now. Because what is coming in social media and the movies and what have you is celebrity worship.
Is it wrong?
No.
Yeah.
But what would be wrong is equating a celebrity to a hero.
The hero.
Why would it be wrong?
Because they are not, the tenets are not the same. The values are not the same. What drives a musician is love for his singing, the talent he has.
But I think at the end of the day, how you feel
it's how you
or
contribute
define
to society.
your own hero should be left to you.
Yeah.
There are people, for example, out there who do not see the works or the extraordinary abilities of the military men as heroes.
Yeah.
They begin to think, well, everyone chooses what they go into. You chose that. There are those who've told Ugandans that as some things were happening, they were ducking under the bed. They were like, hey, we were doing other things. We're also trying to put
But that's true. There are people who are ducking under the bed.
And you see,
Should they be heroes for ducking under the bed?
the way Felix saw Museveni, a military man,
30 seconds.
a military man, and he admired him and said, I'm doing this. There's another person who's going to see a musician and say, I admire that. And
That's
the person
okay.
will pursue success.
Just like that's okay.
Yeah. You've reinforced the reputation by appearing in combat uniform. He's a typical communications expert.
But I can confirm that he doesn't have all the other equipment.
Okay. Well, no doubt. Many thanks for joining us, gentlemen.
The coward he is.
And sharing your views and perspective in regard to today's celebration of National Heroes.
Otherwise, me, I'm heading to work.
Well, no doubt.
And all of us are heading to work.
I'll be saluting you.
For you, you are going to make money. Me, I'm going to serve the country.
There we have it. That is Brigadier Felix Kulaigye, spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces.
By the way, the title is Defense Spokesperson.
Defense Spokesperson.
Yes.
Wow. I've just been corrected and I take it all.
DSP.
DSP.
Yes.
Brigadier Felix Kulaigye.
Yeah.
I love how you dispense wisdom in a very candid way and humble way. Thank you. And of course,
actually, before he goes to work, he has to go buy me a cup of coffee because the last time we met,
With pleasure.
he had not been promoted to brigadier. So I want to take the
With pleasure.
opportunity to congratulate you, Felix.
I love that.
She's congratulating me by me buying the coffee.
Of course, and also Godber,
there's something that comes with
Associate
it.
Director at the Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies. No doubt, it's been a pleasure having your insights and perspective on that. And as Ugandans go ahead to celebrate National Heroes Day, look into yourself, inside yourself. The country needs heroes. Do not look up to people who you want to be your heroes. You have a responsibility to be your own hero, and that will cause the kind of change that many of us want in terms of transforming this country. Of course, I do wish you the very best in that, in as far as the celebrations are concerned. Let's go for a short break. Morning at NTV continues right here. Stay with us.
You're watching Morning at NTV.